A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other.
Correct. The density of the bullet holes is unusual, even in a general average bullet hole frequency in Martinez sense. Grim affairs. Meaning, this is a lot of bullet holes. Looks like fully automatic rifle fire. Something you don't see these days. The manufacturing and sale of automatic rifles was curtailed after the revolution. The destructive power of such tools proved to be too much. We do need to retain some humanity in this world.
A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other. Unable to piece together the big picture just now, there's a hole in their hypothesis. The scattering of bullet holes looks like one giant smiling mouth, smiling its deadly smile, laughing at you and the world and the living.
Here we go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not out of this jam.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
His self-conscious enthusiasm renders his movements ungainly. He looks like your understanding of a scientist.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it. To what do I owe the pleasure? Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the A81. Oh, good. We should really be getting back. Gary could use a hot shower and a warm bed.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going. Which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it. Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators or scientists in our present case. It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defences that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex. But I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolved, without studying a live specimen. I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm, so,
Seems puny, to be honest.
typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit for. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of my, of any, cryptozoologist's career. But to study it and its defences, find out how it stayed hidden so long. Very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts. Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
Just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real?
I know it's real. By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition. Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez specifically. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore. I have to resist the thought such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis. Yes, the females don't need males to reproduce. Makes it easier for a species to survive in adverse conditions. Yes, the Insulindian phasmid is a very clever insect. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. But as a scientist, I'll try my best to remain dispassionate.
There's nothing dispassionate about the way he talks about the insect.
Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick. Yes. Simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can get back out. At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton. Locusts. Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course. but we've hypothesized that the Insulindian phasmid might occasionally prey on other insects.
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another in a tiny, chittering swarm.
They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams, which use plants. We have given this some thought.
The traps do seem to be deftly and thoughtfully constructed. It's clear the cryptozoologist's wife knows what she's doing.
Yes. What? By woman, you mean my wife, I assume? I will return to her. I can't leave before we finish with these traps. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Morale. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let Lena down.
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers. Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine. Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. I can't abandon course now.
His spirit may be willing, but his body might be too old to endure the rigors of the coast.
No, no, no. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel?
I could go for some trap setting.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer. Yes, indeed. Both require a great deal of research, attention to detail, and, above all, persistence. There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them... You should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry.
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture? Is it?
If you think it's important, you have been right before.
Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week. Wise choice.
I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
Right, which means you two can pack up and go back to the whirling.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask. We'll be gone once you get to it.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later too. But what if the information is vital? On the hunt.
I've just always liked animals and puzzles. Searching for cryptids is a bit of both. It's not child's play, just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often. Real. I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does. Indeed, my methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence. And I have more hope that something truly surprising might happen. No, as I said, I have yet to catch a cryptid, although I have come close. Close enough to keep trying.
Interesting. Something for later, this close call.
Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here, to look for the phasmid. I keep a very open mind. No, very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality. It's even in the name, cryptid. Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemnee, which is 4,082 items long, about 2,000 have been confirmed as hoaxes. 2 are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery, refutation, and data collection. Yes, the Chateauquin forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Yugograd, who is, honestly, quite unremarkable. It's in a zoo somewhere. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves, more so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching. In fact, it is 0.05%. Ever more magnificent should our search contribute to making that number 0.075%. Yes? Alright. What cryptids precisely? I usually discuss these things with specialists, so I don't know what.
We would have to discuss. He wants to say, but decides against it, since you've offered to help. You need to ask him about specific cryptids. Cryptids you've heard about from Lena, or his friend Gary. He won't just talk.
A willow person. It's a long story. One non-specialist would find rather dull. They're not people, really. Some argue they aren't really animals, as they seem to have evolved directly from trees. They're very, very thin, almost flat in fact, and can camouflage themselves easily, wrapping themselves around trees and blending in with the tree bark. In that way, they're not too dissimilar from the phasmid we're looking for here. You probably have. Gary and I painted an entire grove's worth of trees in slow-drying paints. It was a bright lavender colour. I was hoping one of the willow people would get paint on it and not be able to camouflage itself. After waiting in hiding for hours, I saw a figure slip from one of the trees, a lavender shadow dashing through the grove. I chased it with a net. Not very elegant. You can't be elegant in the field. And, well, it was faster than me.
A lavender shadow.
I know you think we were snacking on funny mushrooms. It's easier to mock someone than to admit that the world might be more interesting than you've imagined. Furthermore, I'm not saying it was a confirmed sighting. I'm painfully aware of what goes into verifying such things. There is a serious possibility that I saw a squirrel or a trick of the light. I am my own harshest critic. Confirmed. It's 100% verified, and meets all the standards of an authentic cryptid sighting. I see you've been talking about cryptids with Lena. The kind green ape is one of her favourites. We travelled to South Safra to look for it once. Gary and I got stuck in a rainstorm though, and had to spend most of our time there in a little village. The search was fabulously unsuccessful, but the people were very nice. I'm glad they didn't understand what Gary was saying about them.
What? South Safra? They're just on a different rung of the ladder, Morale. I had no problem with them.
Really? You kept complaining about how dirty everything is, but we digress.
They're a nascent culture. I just didn't feel comfortable. And let's change the topic, okay? Talk about your critters, or whatever.
Formerly the most dangerous, yes. But do you know the most dangerous living cryptid? The most dangerous cryptid is a carnivorous ruminant, known colloquially as the dread moose. Yes, the dread moose subsists entirely on flesh. It has even been known to dig up fresh graves in search of sustenance. Human remains have been found deep in the forest, torn apart, then trampled into the mulch by large hooves. Infer from that what you will. Just like an ordinary ardent moose. You can't. That's what makes it so dreadful and hard to identify. The bodies found in the forest are just one piece of physical evidence. There's more. The recent surge in the moose population has hidden carnivores. The dread moose are effectively removing competition for both themselves and their evolutionary cousins. Moose are already being hunted for sport. Can you imagine what would happen if they came to be viewed as predators? The carnivorous moose are a very young species, the result of a genetic mutation that fared well in the process of natural selection. It makes sense that such a majestic animal with natural weapons, antlers, would come to rule the forest. The only strange thing is that it took so long. One slaughterhouse at the outskirts of the woods in Vasa reported that its staff kept seeing moose in the distance. The moose would just stare at the building, as though they were waiting for something, its eyes bloodshot and full of cruelty. And that's not all. Some of the slaughterhouse apprentices went hiking by a nearby creek and saw a moose nibbling on an unidentified carcass.
This isn't something unique. Various species of deer have been known to scavenge when plant food is scarce.
Anyway, there is more than enough evidence to justify a thorough search for the dread moose. Let's close the subject before it turns into an argument.
Here is a man who has had more than his fair share of heated arguments and would, surprising as it may seem, prefer not to have any more.
That's impressive, I guess. But have you seen it with your own eyes? Remarkable. When? That's what I thought. You haven't actually seen it, and I can't imagine how you could either. The Samaskil desert region has been embroiled in a civil war for the last 8 years. I fear this mindless barbarism may have wiped out the elusive creature entirely. Sightings of towering luminosities have grown rare recently, while they once used to be constant.
It remains unclear what this has got to do with you seeing it, as he was inquiring before. He was just being defensive.
Oh, everyone knows about that one, thanks to Professor Mijanu being the talk of the town for a time. Although, probably because her life ended as a result of her work in Gutler, no one remembers her contributions to the search for the Nongok. A flightless cursor owl found in the Seminine Isles. Its long legs permit the Nongok to run faster than any other avian. Perhaps any other animal. Who knows? When it's not hunting its prey in this manner, the Ock hangs from tree branches, like a bat, waiting to dive on hapless prey below on the jungle floor. Mijanu liked extreme animals, you see. One of the few figures of the academic establishment I respect. Really a shame she disappeared. Oh, decades ago. In the 30s. I didn't know her personally, of course. The chasm of academic pretension still stood before us, even though she had unusual courage for someone from the other side. No offence, officer, but I'm not much of a pedagogue. I don't know what I would have done if Lena hadn't persuaded me to go back to field research. You should ask her if you want interesting stories. Me? Not a people person, unless you haven't noticed. And I don't make a good lecturer. My strength lies in field work and persistence. By all means.
Hello, I'm Gary. Very generous of you to help us out, officer. Yellow man. I mean, officer.
The lieutenant raises his eyebrows slightly and takes out his notebook. Yellow man. That sounds awfully familiar. Something to keep in mind for later.
I'm just waiting for my friend Morel to finish up with his insect traps so we can return to civilization. I like nature, just not this bloody coast. It's mostly drunks and degenerates that come here.
Degenerates? This man respects authority too much. To see the truth inscribed upon thine own visage. Pretend thou art a paragon of virtue.
I've been tempted on occasion, but someone has to stay strong for Revacol.
He pronounces Revacol with a hard K, unlike other people.
I like to pronounce it the hard way, the old way, the Vespertine way.
He winks at you, trying to relay some hidden message, inviting you to mispronounce it too, perhaps. It's odd. It's a secret rite, a very fringe nationalist handshake, probably. Garbage. You're a true patriot, and you know how it's said. The Seren way, the fine way, with an elegant s.
Oh, so that's what the RCM in Martinez is about. Great. Great to hear someone's finally taking care of that.
So you do know something about it?
No. Nothing. He was some kind of mercenary. But everyone here knows that. I'm just glad to hear you're looking into it. That's all.
He's not feeling very comfy in his clothes, is he? Strange. He didn't kill him or anything, but there's something going on here.
My mug? Why would you think that? Really? I hear it all the time. All in jest, of course. No offense meant to anyone. Okay, I admit it. I threw the mug away in the trash container behind the hostel. I know I shouldn't have, and I am very sorry, officer. You're not going to find me, are you? Okay, I deserve that. And I won't do it again. You have my word. I don't know what got into me. Stuffing my garbage in another man's property, I've been having trouble at work lately. The Koikos are price dumping us out of competition.
What did you do, Gary?
Nothing. Just answering some questions, helping out the law. I know a guy who works with the trash collection services, CS Municipal. He gave me a master key for the trash containers of Martinez, so I can use the Whirling's trash compactor to store my own stuff. Garbage disposal is expensive as hell. The damn Bohemians run it like a mob. I'm sorry, okay? I thought I could cut costs. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have disgraced myself.
Disgraced? No need for the histrionic, sir. It was, after all, just a trash container.
He studies his reaction. Gary doesn't answer.
Officer, please. Let me explain. It's not like that. I was only cleaning up. I live right across the yard from where he was hanged, and I saw him stripped naked. All the clothes lying around in the yard, smelling. People are animals, you know? Then I came out to clean up the rags because no one else would. I put them into the Whirling's trash, along with a broken mug, admittedly. Okay. I was coming to throw the mug away, and, well, I threw the mug there and the clothes too.
Right. It was just civic duty.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. Civic duty.
As he shifts uncomfortably, a series of clicks, like the clinking of glass beads, against one another as they roll across a hardwood floor. You've heard this sound before, but where?
What sound? Really? There's lots of weird stuff out here in the reeds, though. Insects, trash. Could be the wind shifting some garbage nearby. Armor? No. I mean, yes. Of course. I know he was wearing armor, but I don't know anything about it.
An infant could see he's not telling the truth, but he's too scared to admit more wrongdoing. There's something going on here. You should observe him more closely after this topic is concluded.
I hope I could help your investigation, in my small way. No. I help Morel with research sometimes, and I've learned some things along the way, but I don't usually go in for picnics like this on my own. Not many Sealites here, or anywhere, other than Sale. I meant no offense, truly.
Do you remember how, when we met Measurehead and I said the next racist will be a really good one? Well, this is that racist.
Hey, man, all I meant was there are not many Sealites around here. I'm just stating a fact. No problem at all. Always a pleasure to see an officer of the law. I mean, officers.
Is he? He's looking comfortable enough. Maybe it was just beads. Sounded like beads. But what kind of beads might a man like Gary be hiding beneath his clothes?
Why would I do that, officer? But, officer, I'm not wearing any women's clothes.
You see a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can still make out Feld Electrical R&D. A slogan used to intertwine with the loops a long time ago. Now, only a shadow of peeled letters remains. It says, "Tomorrow is just a whisper away."
Looks like tomorrow never came.
Someone has left an unidentifiable article of clothing on this railing. It smells really bad. The cloth, if you can still call it that, makes a soft crunching sound as you thrust your finger into it. It's streaked with dried seagull shit and tangled with pieces of seaweed. A dangling arm suggests that there might be a jacket beneath the crust of filth.
Please tell me you're not taking that with you. It's a guano-encrusted jacket, and you're already carrying around enough as it is.
As you hold it in your hands, it makes an uncomfortable crunching sound. It's a sordid, filthy tale, not for the weak. Are you sure you can stomach it? Some secrets are better left uncovered. Don't even try. Seriously. It occurs to you that you're not even holding the jacket itself, but rather the thick crust of jetsam and seagull shit that ensconces it. It smells like a dead sea creature, tangled in grey strands of seaweed. It must have spent quite some time in the water before the tide deposited it ashore. Why? Why did you think about it? Look at your hands. They're covered in muck. Now you're just flicking that shit everywhere. This is a disaster. You'll never get the smell out. The smell, it's awful and familiar. It doesn't help. You can still smell it. Keep it in now. Don't overreact. Breathe. Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency, that faintly cloying sweetness. Only death smells like that. Something cold wakes in the pit of your stomach. Fear. The lieutenant has already brought a handkerchief to his nose.
Eyes up, detective. Something's not right here.
There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin. 2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter is all you find. No, there's more in there. Livis strawberry liquor, plus some Pilsner bottles too. Better not pick them up. They seem unhygienic.
A tragedy.
Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand name reads Red Astra. Red Astra is the black market version of Astra cigarettes, known for their high tar content. You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads Shish Kebab Revachol. It's hard to concentrate in the smell. The sea air brings some relief. A man lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right next to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. Half of his body has slipped between the cracked boardwalk, starting with the left leg. The fall has left him broken, contorted like a sad puppet. The smell is not as bad as a 2-week-old corpse, but it's definitely heading there.
Hold on. Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is has been dead for 2 days. No longer. We need to investigate.
Another dead body. This is your job. Steel yourself. Calm now. Carefully. Just another day. Just another dead body. Breathe. He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest. The leather jacket suits him well. It must be custom made. A cool leather jacket with a bolt of blue? Oh no, this sounds terribly familiar. You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into two. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand.
Good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done.
The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole. When damp, these boards are really slippery. Even a sober man could lose their balance here. His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his mustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze. Height, 170 to 175 centimeters. Curly hair, stout build. Age, approximately 50 to 60 years. There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clutched in his fist. Be very, very careful where you step here. A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you? Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
They screech under your feet ominously. It's hard to say whether the dead man's weight was the cause of the boardwalk to break. It definitely looks fragile. You see waves churning below. Something cracks beneath your feet. A .75 liter Tallulah vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside.
Tear all around us. I'd prefer if you didn't collect them this time. It's not proper.
Rybowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall. The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too.
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. The worst thing is, I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario, even the chewing gum. It's always the same.
The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back.
Looks like one of the locals. he'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here. But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
A dead working-class man with a bottle in his hand? Don't deceive yourself. You know who this is.
The woman you met at the book stand? Why do you think it's her husband? The bright blue lining? Well, he's definitely someone's husband. Death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive. No, I don't see anything that points in that direction. For now, let's treat this case as a simple, albeit sad, accident, unrelated to the murder case. Oh yes. Some symptoms of acute alcohol poisoning could have definitely played a role here. Severe confusion, respiratory depression, unpredictable behavior. But I think that death arrived through head trauma, not liver failure. What about it? The deceased ate some kebab. It's probably from a nearby place, maybe in the box. They'll seal this place off after the news reaches the coalition officials. I doubt that they have enough resources to actually repair the boardwalk. Not that sealing it off would keep anyone away. All it does is keep the city council's hands clean. It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure, although there's still a question of identifying the body. From where I stand, I can see two options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle. A field autopsy isn't necessary if the cause of death doesn't appear to be criminal, and this looks like a simple accident to me. I'd say we should just write down head trauma in the autopsy report and leave it at that. It would save us at least 2 hours of unnecessary work. Maybe, but we don't really have much time or resources to spare. The guys at processing will take care of the rest. Alright, we should first examine the library card you found. Then we can call the station from my kinema. Let them know we are taking the case.
The library card is folded into two and still slightly wet to the touch. The front side reads, Central Jamrock Public Library Card, issued to Billy Mejean, expires July 53. Whoever owns this card is an avid reader. You find a list of books written in blue pencil. Radio thriller. Stand a little less between me and the sun. The last one in the list is The Glinting Curve by M. Theobald. A library stamp indicates that the book has been returned. Most of these titles seem to be in the sci-fi genre. Some thrillers too. If lost, please return the card to the library. Dial 005 02 55 211 or visit us at Moreau Street, 78, Jamrock. Business hours 900 to 1800.
Good. We should give them a call from my kinema. See if we can learn anything about Billy Mejean.
metal payphone under a yellow plastic dome. You could use it to call someone, unless you're out of change. You hear the tone. The machine is inoperable. You pick up the handset. There's a tone. The machine is operable. Calling. Still calling. This feels wrong. Should you be doing this? End of tone. Someone picks up.
Pierre, is that you, Pierre? So nice of you to find the time to call me. It gets so lonely. Even the animals have died. Are you sure you're Pierre? Your voice, it's different. There. Presentable.
Her voice is drowned in white noise. Sounds like waves washing a beach, growing in volume until the call suddenly disconnects. You get a sinking feeling. It makes you look if Lieutenant Kitsuragi overheard you. To your relief, he did not. The old woman still sits in her chair, continuing with her chores. As she does so, she quietly hums to herself. There's a gap where the name of that song should be. You should ask her about it right now.
Yes, I can't really sleep anymore. Only a few hours a night. It happens when you grow older. My suggestion is, don't grow any older than you already are. That's old enough. What's troubling your mind? A lullaby my mother used to sing. I sang it to my kids too. It's an old Samaran children's song. Surrender to the night. Yes, it does. Lillian should let her sword make her decisions. The girl just doesn't have the head for it. Either way, I won't sign. You need to check your facts, officer. I said no such thing.
True. She only said she wouldn't even consider signing before Lillian.
Lillian's not the only one who's too trusting. I've seen it all before. You think they've got our interests at heart? Rich men are always selling poor men promises they never planned to keep. Then the poor get pushed out of their homes and the rich get a little richer. That's the way it goes. So no, I don't trust the fat man, and neither should you.
She is headstrong, but there's a slight hesitation in there. You may be able to convince her.
I can wash it for you, but it's going to take about a half an hour. Think you can stay put for that long?
No, we must run around ceaselessly. It would be torture to stay put.
I could use a breather. It's been another track and field day.
Well, hand it over then, and I'll see what I can do. Must say, I'm proud of this one. It's pretty nice underneath all that filth. I hope you'll have an easier life in your hands.
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon. I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. What's on your mind, officer?
A banged-up motor carriage lies half submerged in the icy water, slowly sinking into the Insulindian Ocean. Only the cabin top, rear wheels, and the engine remain visible.
It appears to be so. I agree. We should definitely investigate.
You get a sudden sinking feeling. Stomach acid comes up as you look at the motor carriage in the deep, dark, cold water. The motor carriage is properly stuck in the ice. Getting it out would require a team of specialists. A single day in the salty seawater would ruin most vehicles, but this one looks worn even in places the salt water hasn't touched it. Rust, moss, and sea life have already claimed it for themselves and initiated a slow decomposition process. The logo is too deep in murky water. You can't make it out, but you do see a monkfish float by.
The ice hasn't closed around the vehicle yet. My guess is it's been here since last Saturday or Sunday.
Your mocking tone finds no response, but the motion of the waves.
I did not. But I'd say it has been here since last Saturday or Sunday. Let's wait for the low tide and see what's inside. I don't know. An hour or two, tops?
As you sit down in the old, rusty playground, the world around you becomes very silent. Nothing but the sound of seagulls high above in the sky, echoing like distant laughter. Ice cracks around the blue motor carriage in the sea.
Yes, it does. Let me think about it.
The tune on your lips forms a strange yet undeniably beautiful contrast with the surrounding bleakness. The lieutenant gives you a quick glance, then, still looking straight ahead, He joins you with a higher pitched and slightly more melodic trill. The clouds pass in the sky, and the shadow of the swing moves like the hour hand on a timepiece. 30 minutes have passed. Looks like this might take a while. Time to present a good topic for discussion.
I'm pretty sure I told you already, didn't I? My dad and mom are both half Seolite.
Clouds on the horizon grow darker, and the shadow of the swing set keeps climbing. You hear the distant rumble of the city. 30 minutes pass.
Once again, differences in skin color are the result of melanin production, liver functions, regional adaptation, and various other factors.
Your voice echoes on the water, strange and out of place in the environment. 30 more minutes pass.
Detective, I've been able to make out the mark ever since we arrived. I find it odd that you haven't. It's a Coupris, Model 40.
Yes. Why haven't you?
It is a simple and rugged machine, favored by working men, government offices, firefighters, animal control people, you know, those kinds of people. Yes, 41. What do you think it stands for? But it could also be the number of a police precinct. Precinct 41. Your precinct.
A massive pit opens up in your stomach, and the most terrible feeling comes over you. You feel like you're about to faint and fall off the swing. Your hands get clammy, and the air tastes sour to breathe. No. Just nope. Say no to this, Harry.
Yes, your car is in the sea. Face it, so we can start dealing with this.
The lieutenant just shakes his head.
I'm afraid so, yes. It looks like you started in front of the whirling, jumped over the canal, and then drove your vehicle in the sea right here. Of whom? I don't think so. If anything, you were probably drunk. Detective, we don't. A rescue operation really isn't viable at this point.
It's sunken too deep. There is no access ramp to the coast.
I'm afraid it will have to be there like that for many years. Look at it. Parts of it might be salvageable, but overall, this machine is a write-off. That is very unlikely. All the electrics are toast. That goes for the electromagnetic steering and brake systems as well. You'd be lucky to find one undamaged component in there. In a few months, there will be nothing but rust left of this vehicle. It'll be cheaper to buy a new one. Well, not cheaper. This motor carriage costs 40,000 real. But in the long run, it still makes more sense to buy a new machine than try to refurbish this. Let's face it, this is a substantial loss to your district's budget. I mean, my station only has 4 other vehicles in addition to my kinema. People are more valuable than machines. Training a police officer is even more costly.
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and doesn't say anything.
Yes, let's go take a look.
A police badge on which you see the photo of a man. Some seaweed is stuck to the back.
At least something good came out of all this.
Encased between two durable plastic sheets is a bluish card with lines of information and a watermark in the shape of the street grid of Revachol West. You see a photo, a name, a rank, a document number, the date of issue, and, in the lower right corner, your precinct. The man keeps winking at you with his green-grey eyes. The photo is old, no doubt about that. 8, maybe 10 years. The guy in the picture is rather good-looking. He's got a nice haircut and is distinctly lacking in massive sideburns. What do you think? His face is already contorted by the expression, although it looks less grotesque on him than it does on you now. The badge in your hand shines as you rotate it, catching light. You see lines of information on it, and a shining watermark.
Harrier, that's long for Harry. So you are Harry. Evrard was half right. Probably not a lot of people know your full name. Whoever told him you're Harry Dubois didn't. It's a wartime name, revolutionary. The kind mothers give their sons during troubled times, like Undying or Boxer or Ironhide.
It's meant to keep you safe. From bullets, hunger, shrapnel, kidnappings, and worse.
Why? It's a cool name. I like it. Besides, you're Harry anyway. No one's ever called Harrier.
He's not going to call you Harrier. He'll keep calling you officer when he's angry with you, and detective when he's not. The badge in your hands shines as you rotate it, catching light.
Lieutenant W. Freighter. The lieutenant is a rank above sergeant and below captain. It's the highest rank in the RCM that still does field work. I am a lieutenant. The title of Yefreitor is added to your rank when you decline a promotion to a higher rank. In your case, captain. You have declined twice, thus you're double Yefreitor. There are many reasons one would do this. The rank above you in your precinct's décomptage might be taken, or sometimes promoted officers do not want to replace their superiors out of respect. And sometimes they just prefer the type of police work available to their current rank, in your case, lieutenant.
Heavy-duty case-solving machine.
Décomptage is the hierarchical system employed by the Revachol citizens' militia. It means counting down to twos.
The countdown is modeled after the dual leadership system employed by the left during the revolution, which, in turn, was developed by last-century experimental psychologists in the University of Königstein.
The lowest rank is junior officer, usually teenagers. Then there are the patrol officers, then sergeants, lieutenants, and then a captain. That's basically it, except for a few kings. Kings like satellite officers and the additional Yefreitor rank I already explained.
The long and short of it is, you're his superior.
You are given the title of satellite officer if your partner is quickly promoted through the ranks and you rise with him. You don't seem to be a satellite. No, I've been putting up with you because despite an unconventional approach, you are doing good police work. It matters more than driving your motor carriage into the sea. And now we've even found your badge.
Still, he doesn't trust you completely.
Yes, apparently you've had a rather successful career in the past, and this leads me to believe maybe your current situation is only temporary. Good.
Such a small yet precious thing. Expensive paper caught between thick plastic, like a fly in amber. It reads.
That's just the serial number. Revachol, Jamrock, Precinct 41, with some numbers thrown in there for good measure. 4 months ago. I'm guessing that's when you were promoted to the rank of Lieutenant W. Freighter. A new badge usually comes with a new rank. You seem to have been doing well then.
The pain in your chest tells you were working yourself to death to earn that rank.
Yes, it's the designation of your precinct. 41. Like mine says 57. The 57th is mostly industrial harbor, a lot of asphalt. The 41st is... It's a tough station to work in. You have all of Jamrock to cover. That district should have 3 precincts, but money is what it is.
It's no wonder you are like you are, he thinks. But then again,
it's a legendary district, and a hell of a station too. It must be an honor and a curse to work with people like Price, McCoy, Berdiaeva.
Roberts, Feuerbach, Dimitri. Suddenly, names from your decomptage flash in your forebrain. The badge in your hand shines as you rotate it, catching light. There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks like the same one you saw Morel set before. Same mesh, same wiring. The reeds bend forlornly toward the sand. You see slabs of concrete north. In the east, the city center hums to you. The constant, distant song, louder on this part of the coast, nearer somehow. And there's that cold again. Always the cold. Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmid gorging on them.
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down, 3 to go. No, you weren't.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the...
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? One moment. Can you please describe the body? Age, sex, cause of death?
We suspect he might have been inebriated when he fell. There were bottles all around him, and traces of vomit on his shirt.
Any signs of violence? No field autopsy necessary. What about his belongings? Did you examine his clothes? Any information on the library card? Good. You have a lead. Do you and Lieutenant Kitsuragi want to take the case, or should I assign it to someone else? I have assigned the case to Lieutenant Kim Kitsuragi. Please follow up on this library lead to identify the man. We'll send someone to take the body to the morgue. That's all for now. Thank you for reporting in. Is there anything else I can do for you? Not yet, but I was able to convince the database people to share private sector information. They promised to get back to me by tomorrow morning. Do you have any other questions? 57th, over and out.
In the cabin, you see as... theme on that pinball machine is a standard royalist theme, used on everything from pinball cabinets to full-flavor cigarettes. Clinging to a picture book version of the past century, waiting for the king to come back and cast out all the profiteers and homosexuals. Basically, imagine a yellow plastic crown with a liquor brand emblazoned on it. It comes free with a six-pack of Vermilion Roy d'Or. The words Roy d'Or are stamped into the crown's plastic. The sentiment is called anti-centennial nostalgia, pining for a time before the turn of the century. It's common even now, after 50 years.
Can I help you? Got the 20 real? Then why are you wasting my time and yours? What is this thing? What, the interior decorating kind? You know, I'm sorry. This is actually a nice bird. A competent piece of taxidermy. I can fix it to the plaque and have a new bird in the establishment, I guess. So, I don't know. Thank you. I'm gonna go with thank you.
This was mostly about the fucking cardio. Massive cardio here. You'll live till 90, or you get a heart attack from running.
I feel good about our work here today. It's all about the little things, like bringing people random stuffed animals.
No, you don't. It's not happening.
He tries not to look at you. It's dangerous to acknowledge the karaoke man.
The whirling doesn't need more sad style. That's one of the styles it can do without right now. It's for no one. It's a prop. I'm not letting anyone use it after the great karaoke catastrophe of 44. A lot of people got killed because some arsehole wanted to sing karaoke. Okay, yes, it's for some clients. Ha! Well, we don't have any tapes. They all got stolen.
He's lying, but whatever. You don't really need his lame tracks. The man in the vest and the violet shirt stares at the tape you've just given him. He begins to frown. Hard.
Fine, fine. Climb on that stage and do your thing. Just get out of my hair. I'll plug it in for you. Damn this karaoke machine. Another thing. Great. I love those. Why? No, fuck it. I don't want to know. I don't want to know why these degenerates do what they do. I thought we had one good guest in the building. What's that supposed to mean? Fuck you, buddy. She's not my taste. Good thing she pays for her stuff on time. I'll forward her the bill and be done with it. Now, was there anything else? I have like 4,000 coasters to stack. And then I need to wash dishes because it turns out I have to do that too now. Yes?
The stage is all set up for your performance. Feels silent. You can hear the pellets creak under your feet. You feel a little dizzy, a little unsteady suddenly.
So, are you ready for your thing now? Let me know when I should turn on the karaoke carousel.
I can see that.
Immediately, a loud feedback noise startles the room. You feel like an amateur. How are you supposed to hold the mic? Should you just sing into it? Where should you stand? Hands. Where do you put your hands? Does someone feel like throwing up? I do. A little. The dining hall has cleared up of customers for tonight. Even the kitchen is closed, and someone has turned down the lights. Maybe it's a good idea to do it in the dark like this, almost after closing hours. The stage is all set up for your performance. You feel a little...
So, are you ready for your thing now? Let me know when I should turn on the karaoke carousel.
The air is thick with anticipation. The tape clicks into the carousel, and then the music starts.
I would often go there, to the tiny church there, the smallest church in San, though it once was larger. How the realm may rest there, down through the mist there, toward the Seven Sisters, toward those pale cliffs there. I would often stay there, in that tiny yard there. I have been so glad here, looking forward to the past here. But now, you are all alone. None of this matters. No, none of this matters at all.
Not bad.
Yes, not bad at all.
Okay, yes, I'm going to unplug the microphone, so you can get off the stage now. Ah, smallest church in Saint-Saëns, right? Cool. Now, what can I do for you?
The same small, heavy door. No lock.